hind limb. So this is our gluteal region, the lateral aspect, lateral view of the hind limb, cranial, caudal, limb. From the lateral view, we can see the gluteal region. Here we see some of the muscles are still covered by the gluteal fascia, but we can easily separate their borders and we can expose them very quickly. Just to indicate what muscles we see from this view is the middle gluteal muscle, the tensor fascia lata, the sartorius. This is an additional muscle which is present in the cat which we didn't see in the dog. That is your cranial crural abductor, which is also called gluteofemoralis. Then we have the biceps femoris muscle. Then we have the semitendinosus as usual, and then we can palpate your the lymph node which is located in the popliteal region. That is your popliteal lymph node and other structures. Okay, so what we see here again, the gluteal muscles separating the middle gluteal from the tensor fascia lata, the triangular muscle here which continues further into the fascia lata, that is the tensor fascia lata, the cranial crural abductor. After reflecting the cranial crural abductor, going to separate the superficial gluteal to expose the middle gluteal completely. As I reflect the gluteal fascia along with the superficial gluteal muscle, we can notice the superficial gluteal which is different from the one that we saw earlier, cranial crural abductor, the superficial gluteal muscle that we reflected now. I'm going to transect much part of that so we can see the middle gluteal clearly. The middle gluteal muscle, the superficial gluteal muscle, and the cranial crural abductor. The cranial crural abductor, it continues further and its aponeurosis joins the tensor fascia lata. So it is then becomes part of the tensor fascia lata. So this is your cranial crural abductor, which is partially covered by the biceps femoris. As we go deeper, this muscle continues further into the fascia lata. The biceps femoris, usual structure. As we go to the muscles of the crus of the hind limb, again we have usual group of muscle, the extensors of the digit and flexors of the tarsus, flexors of the digit and extensors of the tarsus. The muscles like both heads of the gastrocnemius are present, 3 heads of the deep digital flexor, 1 head of the superficial digital flexor, cranial tibial muscle and long digital extensor as well as lateral digital extensor, and peroneus longus are the same as we saw in the dog. But then there is major difference here. Along with the lateral head of the gastrocnemius, we will observe that there is another muscle which runs between the tibia and the common calcaneal tendon, that is the soleus. The soleus, which is fairly large, which needs to be differentiated from the superficial digital flexor as well, or it might be confused as superficial digital flexor muscle. So let's transect the gastrocnemius a little bit more and look at that muscle as we can trace it from the tibia, making sure that it is not coming off the femur. The superficial digital flexor is going to be originating on the femur, while your soleus originates on the tibia. So we can see originating from the tibia, descending further down and becoming part of the common calcaneal tendon, that is your soleus muscle. This muscle is absent in the dog, which is very well formed and well developed in the cat. The other muscles like your peroneus longus, which can be seen here, then the lateral digital extensor can also be seen as usual and does the same thing in the dog, in the cat as it does in the dog. But then as usual in the hind limb, we see 2 different sets of the extensor muscles. The long digital extensor. The long digital extensor is called long digital extensor because there is a short digital extensor located below the tarsus, and that is why we see 2 different sets of the tendons going on the dorsal aspect of the digit. It's because of the long digital extensor and short digital extensor. The short digital flexor muscles are also reported in the cat. Those would be present along with the digital flexor muscles on the caudal surface. Now here we look at some of the flexures of the digit and tarsus in the hind limb. We saw the lateral head of the gastrocnemius, the soleus muscle. As we go from the medial aspect, we're going to observe the same structures like your all the adductor muscles are all the muscles which are responsible for adduction of the hind limb are present, including your gracilis, adductor, pectineus. Pectineus is much smaller in the cat as compared to the dog. The pectineus muscle, then femoral triangle. One of the major difference we notice here on the medial side is the sartorius. Instead of having the cranial and caudal heads of the sartorius, the cat has only one head of the sartorius, and so that muscle would be seen extending further towards the tubercocci, as well as part of that will merge into the iliopsoas muscle. So that is your sartorius, one single head. Okay. The structure that we see here, apart from muscles, we see the medial saphenous vein. In the dog, the medial saphenous vein is fairly small, while in case of cat, this is much larger than the lateral saphenous vein, and that is the one which is always used for intravenous injections if we prefer to use it in the hind limb rather using the lateral saphenous vein. The lateral saphenous vein is still present. It would be in the same form as we see in the dog. Both of them would be anastomosing on the dorsal aspect of the tarsus and collecting blood from the dorsal and plantar aspect of the digit, bringing it back to the femoral veins, as both of them they go on both sides. Okay. So we see the medial saphenous vein. We can see the femoral vein, femoral artery, as well as femoral nerve in the femoral triangle, as we saw that in the dog, and so rest of the other structures are quite similar.